James here from goodguitarist.com, and today I want to show you an easy way to play the G minor chord. And I'm not just going to show you how to play the chord, I want to show you how you can use it in songs right away as part of a chord progression. Because it's one thing to learn and memorize the shape and know what it looks like on guitar, but it's a totally different thing to be able to use it in a song. And I'm going to assume that you're already comfortable with some of the basic shapes, but if you'd like a little bit of help with them or just to, some help developing a solid foundation, I have a free ebook. It's completely free and it goes over all the fundamentals of chords, strumming, and then putting that all together. And there's a link in the corner and I'll put one down below in the description. I also have a worksheet for this lesson available exclusively to members of my Patreon page. And it's a step-by-step guide that'll help you practice and master this chord shape. What we're gonna do in this lesson is all laid out on that worksheet and you can use that to help guide your practice. There's more info on that down below as well. With that said, let's just jump right in. We're gonna start with the shape itself. I have no idea why this isn't in like every Hal Leonard book as one of the basic shapes, because it totally should be. It's just as easy as any of the, C, G, and D chords. To play it, I want to start by putting our middle finger on the 3rd fret of the thickest string. Then we're going to skip 2 strings. We're going to put our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the G string and our pinky finger just underneath it on the B string. So from thickest to thinnest, 3, mute, open, 3, 3, mute. And I'm muting the strings just by kind of leaning my hand, letting it sag a little bit. Normally we're supposed to be curling our fingers and have all that proper technique. Well, for this one, we want to let our fingers sag a little bit, and the underside of our middle finger mutes the A string, and the underside of our pinky mutes the high E string. So take some time with that, adjust your fingers, adjust your elbow, your thumb, do what it takes to get as close as you can. This doesn't have to happen right away, but just try your best to mute the A string and most importantly, the high E string. That's the one that really, it's a cool sound. That chord G minor 6 sounds really neat actually, but odds are in the context of the song that you need G minor for, it might sound a little out there. Anyways, we have our G minor shape. I want to just take a second to play around with it, test each string, try strumming. You can use your favorite strumming pattern or just go down, up a whole bunch, just like I'm doing. So that's the shape, but like I said before, it's one thing to know how to play the shape, and it's a total other thing to be able to use it to play music. So let's add that into a chord progression. Here's the chord progression I've chosen: D, G, G minor, D. And if we look at what chords are surrounding that G minor, before it we have a G chord, and after it we have a D chord. And those are the switches that we have to make, going from G to G minor, and then going from G minor to D. And I want to isolate those switches. I want to go over them over and over again so that we can really get them smooth in the context of this chord progression. So we start on a G chord. And then for this one, we leave our middle finger down. We lift up our ring and pinky, and that's it. This one's a really simple switch. And we just test the shape each time we change. And then we use 4 downstrokes, just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeping it nice and simple. And then we do the same thing for G minor to D. And for that one, I like to move my ring finger to the B string first and then use that as a pivoting point, I suppose, to make my D shape. And then I just reverse the steps to go back. So you go through the motions silently a whole bunch, and then you try it 4 downstrokes each. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, just back and forth. And once you're comfortable with each of those switches, isolated, we can put that back into our chord progression. So let's try that out now, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. G minor, 2, 3. D, 2, 3. Again. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now that we can play that within a chord progression, you're ready to take that song that has G minor in it, because I'm sure that's why you're here. You know, you saw a song that has G minor in it, and you're like, I got to figure out how to play this. And you saw all this bar chord stuff. And, you know, this is the simplest solution that sounds nice and full. So you take that song, you look at what chord comes before G minor, you practice that switch back and forth a whole bunch, and then you do the same thing with the chord that comes after G minor. You know, if you were learning If I Fell by the Beatles, G minor is between a D chord and an A chord. So you do G minor to D a whole bunch, and then G minor to A whole bunch, and then you're good to try the entire song. Either way, that's how you can play a full sounding G minor chord without having to play bar chords. I do recommend eventually getting into bar chords because they're super useful. But, you know, in a pinch, this is actually a really nice voicing. Like, some of them are a bit so-so, but this one is really full sounding, really beautiful. So, you know, this is a great way to do it. If you need help integrating this into your practice, I have that worksheet on my Patreon page. It just takes you step by step through all the stuff we covered in this lesson. And if you haven't gotten your copy of my free ebook, there's a link down below for that as well. Have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.